We spend our lives in many ways in our culture right now claiming this mountain of fame, social media likes, acclaim, for what? And often to the cost of the other 7 forms of wealth I talk about.
Yes.
We lose our health along the way, or we lose our family along the way. I've mentored so many billionaires, their children won't talk to them anymore. So why would we spend our best hours chasing a mountaintop only to realize at the end we climbed the wrong mountain? I have a key principle that I live my life by, and it's do your best and let life do the rest. And so once I've done my best, and it comes from some wisdom traditions, it's focus on your labor and ignore the fruits of your labor. And I think it's very profound to say, look, I gave my best to the wealth money can't buy, and now I need to let go. Like, one of the most powerful things a human being can learn is the gift and traits of letting go. So many of us feel guilt and even shame if we're not doing 24/7. But we know from research that the most creative people and most productive people, including the work of the Energy Project, the most effective leaders and the best entrepreneurs work in cycles. I think patience and persistency are 2 sides of the same coin. If I had to think about it, patience is just, I think what makes a master is...
Robin Sharma, you've done it again. Congratulations on another brilliant book, The Wealth Money Can't Buy.
Thanks so much, Susie. It's great to see you again.
It's so wonderful to see you. As you know, I've read your books. This is, I think, our second or third conversation, which is such a joy. And whenever you release new work, I'm always excited and curious, what's left. And with this book, 8 Hidden Habits to Live Your Richest Life, based on The Wealth Money Can't Buy, how did this come to you, Robin? I mean, were you just sick of influencer culture? Were you thinking about this for a while? Has it always been percolating? Where did this come from?
Well, I just think there's a number of places it's come from, Susie. It's a great question. One of them is our society puts a lot of pressure on people to hustle and grind, make money, capture likes, buy lots of things in order to feel they've become successful. And as you know in the book, the 5th form, there's 8 forms of wealth that I talk about. The 5th form of wealth is money. There's nothing wrong with making money whatsoever, getting nice things in the world. No, it's one of the forms of wealth. I just think there are 7 other forms of wealth that if we don't feed them, and if we don't appreciate them, and if we don't acknowledge them, we really miss out on living our richest life. So I wanted to take the pressure off of people and show them the other forms of wealth, like craft and family and wellness and adventure. Second place it's come from, for 15 plus years, I've mentored billionaires, entertainment, royalty, sports superstars. A lot of these people came to me, they were cash rich, but life poor. And so I created this model to help show them, here's what a truly happy, soulful, successful, wealthy life looks like. And that model, along with the associated tools, has really helped them. So I decided to put it in a book to share it with a wider audience.
And the 8 habits are growth, wellness, family, craft, money, community, adventure, and service. Wow. I mean, Robin, which was the easiest section to write and which was the trickiest? Did you think, oh, it's so easy to write about service? I know you're all about service, Robin. And then you're like, adventure, this is an interesting one. Like, how did it work with these 8 habits for you?
Well, the whole darn book was hard to write. It took me a year of my life. Wow. It was a devotion that became an obsession. I probably did 20 different versions of the manuscript, 10,000 changes and optimizations each version. So it just took a lot out of me cognitively, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. But I believe an author is only as good as their last book. And I didn't want to rest on my laurels and repeat any kind of a winning formula. So I worked ever so hard on this book. Yeah, it was just a hard book to write. Which of the 8 forms of wealth in The Wealth Money Can't Buy were easier to write?
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, the craft section, the fourth form of wealth, which is really using your
Mm,
work to pursue mastery as well as
mm,
push magic into the marketplace. I mean, that's one of my sweet spots,
yes.
helping people be more creative, productive, and push magic into the marketplace so they lead the field. That was somewhat easier. I would also
Mm,
say the service one, as you mentioned, which
yeah.
is finding a cause that's larger than yourself to donate your life to and being
Mm,
generous versus scarce and a gift giver versus a taker. That one was,
mhm.
and I also in that section had a lot on like the chapter about eat your last supper first, uh,
Yes. Yes.
create a living funeral. So connecting with
Yes.
mortality so we live to the point. That's
Mm.
sort of part of my sweet spot as well.
And then when it came to the areas where you're like, this is going to take some research and a bit of delving into it, even just maybe not even research because you're so researched, it's your life and your work. But were you thinking, oh, this one's an interesting one to dive into? Or, you know what, I can't, it has to be these 8 habits. I can't do it without this. Was there any that was just kind of slightly trickier for you?
Well, any of them trickier? Well, like I say, I mean, the most honest answer I can give you is the book was complicated to write because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make it really simple and accessible. It makes me
Mm-hmm.
think of what Mark Twain said. Sorry, I wrote you a long letter. I didn't have time to write you a short one. So this
Yeah.
this book this book was very much about trying to strip away the accessories and provide
Yeah.
readers with the principles and tactics that would really help them become richer human beings and lead a much richer life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
some of the tools that I shared in there, like one of the tools that I'm finding is really resonating with people. I'll
Mm-hmm.
share it with you because I think will help
Yeah.
your bring value to your global base of followers and listeners. And it's
Mm.
the 5-question morning maximizer.
Ah, yes.
So every morning, what I encourage you to do, you know, I love journaling. There's a few chapters on the power of journaling that are fresh and hopefully original. And so I encourage people get up in the morning as part of your morning routine, ask yourself 5 questions. First
Mm-hmm.
question is, what am I grateful for? We've heard that a million times. We know from the research that the positive psychologists say that the happiest people practice deliberate gratitude. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not what you do once a year, it's what you do every day that's going to make a difference. So,
Mm-hmm.
gratitude is the antidote to fear. First question to answer is, what am I grateful for?
Mm-hmm.
Second question is, where am I winning?
Mm-hmm.
Because the negativity bias of the human brain trains us to focus on where we're losing. So, if each
Mm-hmm.
day we can focus on our micro wins and our
Mm-hmm.
tiny triumphs, that
Mm-hmm.
bulletproofs our hope and it battle proofs our energy. Third
Mm-hmm.
question is, what will I let go of today? So at the
Mm.
beginning of the book, there's that chapter, Don't Be a Resentment Collector.
Yes.
And so by writing a paragraph or two, here's who I will forgive, or here's what I will let go of, or here's this resentment I will work through, you'll
Mm-hmm.
metabolize those feelings of resentment or shame or disappointment or anger or sorrow and begin the process of releasing them. Fourth question is, what does my ideal day ahead look like?
Mm-hmm.
So that's very powerful. Clarity breeds mastery. And so by
Mm-hmm.
writing a paragraph about what your ideal day looks like, it sets the intention to live out that day. And your days are your life in miniature. So if you live great days, you'll produce a great life. And then
Mm-hmm.
finally, what do I need to hear at the end? So that final fifth question is when I get to you fast forward to the end of your life and you ask yourself, what do I need to hear said about me by my loved ones on my last day? And even a
Mm-hmm.
line or two, again, it causes you to live the point and not be busy being busy.
Mm. And Robin, the format too with which you write this book is different for you. It's lots of short chapters, very easy to digest. I feel like you've taken the most salient. I can see how much went into this book because there's just so. The value you receive in a book like this. I mean, and you say you kick off in the introduction by saying, "Oh, what a world we live in. We're trained to measure whether we're winning by the amount of money we have, the size of the possessions we own, and how well we have used our days in pursuit of fame, fortune, and influence. This causes too many of us deep within our souls to feel bad about our lives, sad about ourselves, and mad that the dreams we once had such faith in have been destroyed, dying a quiet death as we replace them with adult responsibilities, life stresses, and human struggles. Sure, money is important. Having a reasonable amount allows us to lead easier lives, live life on our own terms, and do good things for the people we love. Having enough opens more windows of possibility and doorways of choice. Yet money is only one form of wealth. There are actually 7 other forms I'd like you to focus on. So we get you to a life that you feel is honestly rich, deeply alive, and everything you once hoped it would be. I mean, as you read that, you're like, oh, what have I been missing out on? And Robin, I learned a lot about you from this book. You like Justin Bieber. Your mum takes on motorcycle gangs. You like 4-hour lunches. You like Florence Scovel. I feel like it's such a good time for this piece of work and what you've put together. Does it feel like it's the perfect time to be released, like in 2024 right now?
Well, a lot of people are providing that feedback. They're using a term that I had to look up in the dictionary, Susie, which is zeitgeist. But it's
Yeah.
people are saying it's a very, very, very timely book because it offers a completely new definition of wealth, and I think even success. And I think, for too many years we've been hustling, grinding our way to a mountaintop only to get close to that summit and realize we've been climbing the wrong mountain. And again, this is not a book against financial success. There's 25 chapters in the wealth section on how the billionaires do it. I've deconstructed their mindsets, their habits, the way they do it. It's not at all a book against material things. I think we all like a nice hotel room and nice material things. So it's not about being a monk, but there are 7 other forms of wealth. And I think in this world of polycrisis, I mean, there's climate change and there's wars. There's a cost of living crisis. There's a lot of pressure that human beings are under right now. And part of the reason I think this book is landing with so many people around the world is I think it makes me think of what Jim Carrey said. He said, I wish everyone could be rich and famous to realize it doesn't make a difference. And I think in many ways, because of social media and the cult of comparison, we're watching a lot of these people showing their lifestyles. And it almost subconsciously causes us to chase that lifestyle because as human beings, we're tribal, right? And yet a lot of us start doing those things and we realize it really doesn't make a difference. I mean, let's go to the science. There's a great term called hedonic adaptation that positive psychologists use. And hedonic adaptation, as you know, Susie, is basically it's the ability and the phenomenon where a human being reaches a place or a condition that we've always wanted, and then we normalize it. So often we say to ourselves, oh, if I had this amount of money, if I had this house, if I had this many social media followers, I would wake up and I would feel fulfilled and happy. But the psychology is really clear. The research shows that once we get to that place we've always wanted to get to, it becomes our new normal, and then we chase the next drug of choice. So there's nothing wrong with chasing some of these things, but if we're looking for fulfillment and happiness, I think we need to look at these other 7 forms of wealth that I talk about in the book.
Oh my gosh. And I have to say, some of my favorite chapters, Be a Pirate. I love that one. What a colorful one. It's okay to be sloppy. I mean, seriously, we've covered all the bases here with this book. Memorize Alexander the Great's final 3 wishes. I mean, it's hard to even, I was going to select my favorites. See Solitude as a wellness method. But as you're speaking about, comparison here, which really does plague us, even though we know social media isn't real, like even though we understand that it's curated, we still feel it. I sometimes make it akin to watching a scary movie. It's not really happening, but it still makes you scared as it's happening, as you're observing it. And what I love that you share in the book is a chapter on seeing another's winning as your victory. I thought, oh, this is a good one. So you say in the book, so Robin, how do I stop being jealous of the good fortune of others? Just stop, I gently yet firmly say you share. Stop scrolling to see what others are doing and what they're accomplishing. Stop comparing yourself to influencers and stand up for your own uniqueness, giftedness, and specialness. There are talents you have that the people you admire only dream of having. Yes. Stop wanting what you see another possessing because maybe the wisdom that rules the world knows something you don't and has decided that what you want isn't best for you. Can we dive into this one a little bit, Robin? Because I swear this is the cause of so much misery that we don't even claim.
Yeah, I go to my mom. So you identified that chapter where the chapter called "That Time My Mother Took on a Motorcycle Gang," which is a true story. But what you're speaking about, that chapter about seeing someone else's winning as you're winning, I think it would help all of us so much because
Mm-hmm.
I mean one of the human traits is we suffer from jealousy,
Mm-hmm.
and we see someone winning, and it brings up our lost promise, and it brings up our inferiority, and it brings up our lack of worthiness. And my mom said something really profound, and I'll share it with you. She said, what's yours is yours and can never be taken away. And so if you don't, and what's not yours was never for you, so why would you worry about not having it? And I just think that's profound. Like, what's yours is yours and can never be taken away. And what's not for you, why would you want it? Because it's not for you. And the larger point is, if through prayer, meditation, journaling, reading, reflection, we can get to a place where even affirmations are so powerful, but to see someone else's winning and say, even quietly to yourself, well done.
Mm-hmm.
If we can train ourselves through a process of habituation to see any other human being's success as our success, or even as a model of possibility to inspire our greatest selves, we would remove the toxicity of jealousy that so many of us suffer from.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just bring a lot more joy to our own lives. And I think a lot more creativity, because jealousy really affects our creativity and our energy and our productivity.
Mm-hmm. So, Robin, I mean, maybe not now, but as you were, through your author career, I mean, this happens a lot. I even hear it in my communities. They'll go, "Oh, but this person's younger and she hit a list," or "This person is XYZ, not as qualified as me, and they've got all this engagement and this audience." So you would just say, "Well done," like just see it as the model of possibility. I mean, if someone's struggling with that, I mean, was that something that you used to struggle with? Is it something that you're just completely clean with now?
Well, I think all of us deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the human condition. We see someone else winning, and if it's something that means a lot to us, we can wish we were there as well. I think that's human nature.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I think we all struggle with it. For me, it bothers me less and less the more years I get under my belt, and there's a few reasons why. I think first of all, I have a key principle that I live my life by,
Mm-hmm.
and it's do your best and let life do the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I've done my best, and and it comes from some wisdom traditions, it's focus on your labor and ignore the fruits of your labor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very profound to say, look, I gave my best to the Wealth Money Can't Buy, and now I need to let go. Like, one of the most powerful things a human being can learn is the gift and traits of letting go. So do your best and then let life do the rest. Second thing that's been helpful to me is when I don't get what I want,
Mm-hmm.
often there's something better, or I realize I was being protected.
Mm-hmm.
Third thing I would say is real winning is running your own race.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as you can do you and live life according to your path, you are winning. I mean, I would rather succeed at my true path than win at someone else's life.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's right for someone? You talked about someone who's on a list or whatever as an author. Fantastic. That's great for them, and that's their lives. The way I try to look at it, someone else's success is none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to applaud them. I want to encourage them. If I can be there to help them, I will do it. And then I have to stick to my own knitting and mind my own business and create my own life and take care of my family and add value to my readers. And if I'm doing that, I'm winning.
Oh my God, and Robin, I think that you do exemplify this with how you live, because there are so many things that, an author can be doing, X, Y, Z. And you also share in the book too, that you only started doing what you wanted to do, even professionally. Someone gave you some advice because you're getting a bit burnt out with, I think, a lot of speaking, a lot of traveling. And a friend said to you, just do what you want to do, right? Like create it your way. And isn't that such a secret? We think that we can't do that.
What a concept. What a
Yeah.
concept. Fire the clients that are causing you grief. Say no to the engagements that you don't love doing. I mean, we have a lot more power than we think. And of course, some people will say, well, you can't do that, etc. We have a lot more choice than we might be
I agree.
seeing in our lives. And the chapter you're referring to in the book is the one where, I used to do these full day events for many years. And then I just realized I wasn't enjoying flying 15 hours and the next day doing a 7-hour presentation. And I was having lunch in New York with a friend, and he said, why don't you just do what you want to do? And so what I love doing are 75-minute keynotes. And so basically I said no to everything else. And surprisingly, the number of keynotes I received accelerated even more. And I started and then I did that across my whole life. I let go of the energy vampires and the dream stealers that were kind of bringing me down in my personal life, and all the activities that were degrading my joy. I stripped those out. I basically did a toxicity cleanse, and I rewired my life professionally and personally. So, and then people might be wondering, well, how can I do these things? So here's a tool that's been very helpful to me and my clients, and it's MVP, the MVP tool. So in sports, MVP is most valuable player. In business circles, MVP is minimum viable product. For me, MVP is meditation, visualization, and prayer. And so, I wrote that book, The 5 a.m. Club, that has grown into a movement of many millions of people in the world.
Yes.
But right now, 4 a.m. is magic for me. And so I live in this old farmhouse in Italy, and I get up at 4 o'clock, and for 45 minutes, I meditate, I visualize, and I pray. And I just have to tell you, we're all looking for a tool that really helps us remove weakness and become stronger and more intimate with our gifts and talents. MVP is extraordinarily powerful.
And Robin, what fascinates me about you is, of course, your gung-ho. I mean, the 5 a.m. club, your 4 a.m. now, your routine. I've seen your book tour. I've been observing you. There is go, go, go. And then there is also extreme rest. I mean, I think that you've struck this balance that it's hard. Like it's something that people find challenging because it's hard to almost switch off an energy that comes with, I think, creating and being visible and being out there. And then, I mean, you speak so much about the importance of solitude also, and time in nature. Is it an easy when you're like, okay, now I'm relaxed and I'm into my next phase, or is there like a calm down that you also need from going to chilling?
Well, elite performance without deep recovery is an empty victory. And you're right. So many of us feel guilt and even shame if we're not doing 24/7. But we know from research that the most creative people and most productive people, including the work of the Energy Project, the most effective leaders and the best entrepreneurs work in cycles. And in my work, I call it the high excellence cycle. That's when you're on your game, you're up early, you are working on your targets, you are, to use your words, go, go, go. And then there's the deep recovery cycle, which is where you rest and you take naps, but you also do active rest. Maybe it's long walks in nature. Maybe it's more films every night. Maybe you go to Bali or Vietnam and you do a retreat for yourself. And what's been really helpful to me is to understand that recovery and renewal and refueling is essential to longevity. And when I'm not working is when I'm actually creating. And what I mean by that is the Japanese novelist Murakami said that when I'm not writing my books, I'm actually writing my books. It's when we're out on a nature walk or when we're watching a film or having a 3-hour meal with our friends and family. That's when the great ideas are inoculating and germinating. We can even talk about the science that when you are in active recovery or even resting, your brain is almost as active as when you are working. And when we are resting, this is when our brain actually deepens memories, makes connections that forge great creativity, and solves our biggest problems. So understanding that, what I do is I've been on this 9-week tour. It was super intense. And since I've come home, I was in the world, now I'm in the wilderness. And so I'm resting more and I'm in nature all the time and I'm sunbathing and listening to great music and pretty much clearing my schedule, because I understand that without recovery, my willpower, my creativity, my cognition, and my inspiration, these wells will get empty. And if they're empty, how can I ever do my best work and pursue my mission? So what I do is I live my life in a series of seasons: productivity and elite performance, recovery, and wasting time. To use the words of John Lennon, time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time.
It's so interesting. Arthur Miller said that too when he was interviewed. Someone said, "Are you working on your next play?" And he said, "I don't know. I probably am." In that period of rest, in that period of not writing, creating, producing. And so when you get home from your 9 weeks, are you like, bam, that's it, I am now in rest? Or does it take a bit of transition time for you?
Oh, I pretty much go, as strange as it sounds, I go hard on rest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I've got a great team, and there's a chapter in The Wealth Money Can't Buy called Go Ghost for a Year.
Yes,
which
I love that.
We can get into that idea of like taking away, you leave the world, you go to the wilderness, you read the classics, you learn to meditate, you get super fit, you go very deep, and you come back to your original world, born anew. And people have really been resonating with going ghost, whether it's a year, whether it's a week. But for me, I've got a great team, and they understand that I've got my time where I'm doing what I do professionally, and then I go ghost, I go dark. And they know they won't hear from me for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Wow.
And it just it's necessary for me to play the long game that I want to play and stay creative, because I don't think you get your best ideas in the office or in the frenzy of working. I think you get your best ideas when you are in solitude or walking in the woods or in a foreign place. That's the beauty of traveling. When you go to foreign places, your curiosity gets re-sparked, and you start getting all these ideas that really are wonderful for your creativity.
I love this going ghost idea, whether it is a year, if that's available to somebody, or even a shorter period. And I know how much we speak about solitude for wellness. I think there's a concern, Robin, that if people go dark, so to speak, or go ghost, they'll lose their relevance. They'll lose their invitations to cool things. It feels like it's too risky. I can't, like, the world will collapse if I'm not posting on, so if I'm not launching new promotions, if I'm not out there, if I'm not at the barbecue, if I'm not the mum at school with doing all the things. I mean, what do you say to someone who's worried about piecing out for a while to do what they need to tap into themselves?
The first thing I would say to anyone who said that is, I hear you, because it is such a common and honest answer. If I'm not posting 3 pieces of content today, if I'm not giving keynotes, or if I'm not traveling and evangelizing the message, I will not be relevant. I think about J.D. Salinger. J.D. Salinger is still relevant today. He wrote one of the best-selling books of all time, Catcher in the Rye. He only wrote one book. He only wrote one book. I think about Van Gogh. Everyone's heard of Vincent van Gogh, one of the great masters. He's certainly relevant. He only sold 2 paintings in his lifetime. And so what I say in The Wealth Money Can't Buy, in the craft section, the 4th form of wealth, be a minimalist versus a maximalist. It's much better, and I think wiser, to push one masterwork into the marketplace over your entire career. One Taj Mahal, one Sistine Chapel ceiling, one Catcher in the Rye, one Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven, than 1,000 mediocrities. So anyone who says, well, what if I'm not hustling, grinding 24/7? I'd say, focus more on pushing one piece of magic that stands the test of time. It's better to do one masterwork every 2 or 3 or 10 years, and people will find it. They will find the brilliance. And once they find it, they will share it. And so you don't have to work 24/7. And I would actually say if you work 24/7 and are constantly pushing out content, you're not going to do that one monumental work that takes patience and effort and time.
It's so interesting. When I was reading that in the book, I was like, and then you also suggest going away if you can to work on your projects and how you did that with the 5 a.m. club to get it done. And I think to myself, wow, yeah, I think that isn't the environment that we live in. It's like, gotta be visible, gotta be out there, gotta go. And you'll miss a connection, and that person is way more important than anything that you could ever possibly create on your. It's all about like the externals of it. So it's very refreshing, and I think it brings a lot of relief to look at it this way, Robin. I think I'm not sure if that was your intention, but I think that it's very permission giving for someone who kind of does want to do that quiet work but doesn't think they're allowed, so to speak, or who thinks that they'll have a negative consequence in their life.
Susie, I think that hustle and grind and always be working and always networking and always pushing out content, I think that comes from a lot of fear. I think it comes from a lot of fear of not being enough and not doing enough. And so I would encourage anyone who's feeling that to use MVP or use the tools I talk about in the book, use journaling.
Yes.
All those kinds of reflection is very powerful. Just reflecting and becoming aware that, wow, I'm really in fear. And fear is driving this behavior. And understanding that just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean you should do it if it's not right for you. And I think wisdom and discipline really is like, okay, I'm going to be a multiple masterwork creator. And masterwork isn't done hustle and grinding, working 24/7. And masterwork takes a lot of time. And so being okay with, this might sound like a radical idea, but 30 years of anonymity. And what I mean by that, imagine having the wisdom and discipline to say, my book, my screenplay, my business might take 30 years of me not being known, but I'm going to do it for the work. I'm going to do it for the magic. I'm going to go all in for what it makes of me as a creator and the personal gifts it introduces me to. And that might take years of no one seeing it, no one knowing it. But I think that's an alternate way to work and to live, but I think it's a much more powerful way. Even to say to yourself, even when I release my masterwork to the world, if no one applauds it, it's okay, because just producing it means I've won. It's a whole different way of seeing success, but I think it's a much more heavyweight and sustainable and truthful way to see success versus constantly pushing out content, getting all these likes, but the likes are fleeting and you're just on this hamster wheel.
And speaking of things taking time, you do speak about patience in the book. There's a section here that I loved. You say, we inhabit an age when so many of us want our dreams done instantly. Too many of us have forgotten the power of patience, the magic of steadiness, and the wonder of tiny triumphs made daily on the project that most inspires us, whether a health program or a love ambition, a financial objective, or a spiritual affair. Robin, talk to us about patience. I think patience is like long forgotten, or patience. I mean, he's got time for that.
It's such a lost virtue. It's so old school in this new school world.
Yeah.
But how do you build a great relationship, intimate relationship? Patience.
Yeah.
How do you build a great health life? One workout at a time. How do you
Mm-hmm.
build a great career? Extraordinary patience. How do you, again, we've been talking about masterwork.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think one of the great traits of the great masters, they have an enormous amount of patience.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just think it's a great skill, and that's why I write about it in that chapter. And I do think
Yeah.
it's, we're just in such a hurry to push information out, to do so much work and push it out. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in conversations, we don't have patience. We don't have patience even in terms of reading. We're looking for the easy book to read versus the challenging, deep book to read.
Mm-hmm. So is patience for you, does this come naturally, or is it something that you've learned over the years?
I think fundamentally, I'm a very impatient person.
Me too.
Very impatient. It's definitely one of my weaknesses, but I've grown far more patient over the years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting because it's almost like patience and persistence in a way, they kind of go hand in hand, right? Even though it seems like they don't, I feel like there is a rhythm to it. There is like you said, do my best and you leave the rest. Like you do. And that also embodies patience, doesn't it? Because there's also maybe there's a desire, but there isn't an attachment for a specific outcome or on a certain timeline.
Yeah, very much so. I think patience and persistency
Mm-hmm.
are two sides of the same coin. If I had to
Mm-hmm.
think about it, patience is just, I think what makes a master is staying inspired and committed long after the initial excitement of a new idea has
Mm-hmm.
gone. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
patience,
Yes.
right? So you're in the desert of creative isolation. Well, the new book or the new business or the new love story, it was
Mm-hmm.
exciting at the beginning. But
Mm-hmm.
most people, after the excitement is gone, they chase the next shiny toy. I think
Mm-hmm.
patience is, here's my commitment, whether it's the new business or the new love story, the health commitment, and I'm going to stay with it long after the inspiration has dissolved. That's patience. I think
Mm-hmm.
the way I, just off the top of my head,
Mm-hmm.
the way I see persistency is the Japanese proverb, get knocked down 7 times, get up 8.
Mm-hmm.
To me, persistency is using failure as fuel, troubles as triumphs, the turning the chattering voices of the critics and taking the rocks they throw at you and building them into monuments of mastery that stand the test of time.
Mm-hmm. What's so interesting too, I think, Robin, right now is people will say, no joke, people have said to me, oh, I've done 10 podcasts. Like, why aren't I famous yet? Or I've written 6 blog posts. Like, where are my millions of dollars rolling in while I'm at the beach? And it's so interesting how, uh, I mean, at some core level, I think we all know that's not how it works. And yet, maybe because that's what's presented, or we do see just the wins and the successes, we don't see. I mean, like you said, how many iterations of this book how many hours went into The Wealth Money Can't Buy? I mean, we see the final piece and we're like, oh, Robin, he writes, it's so easy for him. He's just like this incredible author. It just flows. And then he just does his book tour and it's amazing. And he goes back to his lovely life. It's like, there is so much, and that's why I love that you speak so painstakingly. Like you're like, what went into this is a lot. It wasn't just that was a fun weekend away where I pulled that together.
Yeah, and I only share this because maybe it'll be helpful to
Mm-hmm.
people. But with this book, The Wealth Money Can't Buy, I've got onto some lists that I've never gone on before. I don't need to
Mm-hmm.
mention I don't need to mention
Yes.
the names, but I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I mention that is it took me 31 years to get onto those lists.
Wow.
So I get back to that philosophical point, and I do think it's powerful, and it's also wonderful for our peace of mind and for our grace. Write the book for the beauty of writing the book. That's
Mm-hmm.
honoring your gifts and talents. What's more winning than that, if that makes any sense?
Yes. Yes.
Launch the business for the beauty of creating value for people who are in need and for
Yes.
the excitement and challenge of building an incredible business. Of course, we
Mm.
all want the worldly rewards, but measure your success by a series of other metrics along with the worldly success, and you'll find you're going to Sustain your inspiration. You'll be a lot happier. You won't be in fear all the time because other people are winning. So what I'm saying is, do the work for the beauty and joy and triumph of doing the work, and just have the outer rewards as icing on the cake.
It's like that old expression that the man or woman who loves walking will always go further than the person who loves the destination. Right, like doing the work for the sake of the work, like doing because it's inside of you. And I mean, Robin, so 31 years to hit some lists, right? And I did see that, and congratulations, I was very happy.
Thank you.
But do you just as part of course, I know you feel appreciation, but do you feel so? The Dalai Lama said when he won the Nobel Prize, I was very happy for the people who wanted me to win the Nobel Prize, like didn't care. And I wondered, like, what did it feel like? Were you like, I'm vindicated? Or were you like, oh, this is pleasant? I mean, what did it feel like for you? Can I ask?
It felt like elation in the moment.
Yeah.
And then I got up the next day, and it's all about getting the mission done.
Yeah. It's also some hedonic adaptation right there too, right? It's like, oh, it can be.
It's like elation. It felt great.
Yeah.
To have a New York Times bestseller, and that's not what it's all about to me. It's wonderful, but to me, it's about the craft. It's about serving my readers. It's about fulfilling my creative excitements and enthusiasms. It's about the 8 forms of wealth: family and wellness and personal growth and service and all those things that I talk about. So,
yes.
Yeah, again, when I was 21 years old or so, one of my mentors said, run your own race. I used that term a little earlier in the interview.
Yes.
And so I try to run my own race, and I try to do what I do for the right reasons. So.
But we can feel it. I mean, I can feel your writing. I can feel how much you care. Like to me, it's palpable in the way that you create I know I'm reading a Robin Sharma book. Like you definitely have your style, and it feels very this real exchange of love on your part for the people who are finding your work. Are there any, I mean, I know it's hard to say because I'm sure they feel like children, but are there a couple of chapters that are your favorites when you look back, you're like, if you just read one, like, or if you just get the book and you got 10 minutes, just dive into these 2 or 3.
Can I just go back to what you said about love before I answer that,
Oh,
Susie?
yes, please.
Because I don't think, out of all the podcasts I've done over the past weeks, I don't think I've ever been asked about it or talked about it. So I think the more you grow in self-respect, the more you will respect the people who consume your work. The more you will respect what you put in your body, the more you will respect the world, the more you will respect strangers on the street. The more through your inner work and quiet isolation, you grow in self-love. The more you will work with love, and people, when they read your work or consume your products, they'll feel the love. I think I'll mention that if I could mention it again, because I think it's a radical idea, but we talk about love as in intimacy and love stories. But I think love, it comes in many forms. There's love of family, there's love of country, there's love of craft, and there's love of the people who put food on your family table. And if you can build more love with yourself, then you're actually automatically going to feel love for the people who consume your content. In my morning prayers, I pray for my elderly parents. I pray for the rest of my family. But I also pray for my readers and my followers. And I actually visualize them, reading my books or watching my videos and lighting up. And I really do have a love affair with my readers and with my clients. And so hopefully that'll be a helpful point. That's why, you will never rise any higher in the world than you are within yourself. And the real work is done in what I call the 4 interior empires: the mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set. I talked about that a little bit in the new book, but also in the 5 a.m. club. And it's such a paradox, but the doorway to success swings inward versus outward. And when we start developing ourselves in a very serious way and removing our insecurities and our egoic needs, and we start to pay more attention to our heroic selves, our business, our income, our impact automatically rise with us. So the point I was just trying to make is developing more self-love allows you to put love into your products, and people feel the intention, the energy, and the vibration of the work that you put out there. And that's what you're feeling. And so that's why you can say, oh, I care about people, but if you don't really do it, people won't really feel it.
Truly, like Robin, reading your work, it's like you want people to grasp what can make their lives better. Like the intention to me feels so sincere. And you also do speak in the book about this, maybe not exactly in this exact way, but you say, when how you feel about yourself upgrades, so to speak, things just also start working out. Like the way that you treat yourself is mirrored. So it is kind of what we're discussing here. And is that just still what is happening for you as you continue to evolve? You're like, gosh, more and more, I know myself more intimately. And you share in the book too how you found your greatest relationship in your 50. I mean, life is a beautiful thing, isn't it? Like the journey that we're all on here, and seeing, is this still something that you're experiencing and growing in all the time?
Every day. Every day I try to do my MVP. I try to do my journal prompts. I do my journaling. I do my workout. If I'm home, I'll take the little dog I mentioned, Super Chum, and we'll go for, a 15-minute nature walk is a game-changing move as part of your morning routine. And I'm always reading and trying to analyze myself and look at my yesterday to make today better and tomorrow better and pivot. That's just, it's a core part of me. And so many, I know you do the same, and so many of your followers do the same. You mentioned you asked about what are some of the chapters that I like. So I wanted to make sure I didn't,
I won't let you off the hook. You got to tell me.
Please don't. I would say Alexander the Great's last 3 wishes. You mentioned that one.
Yeah.
So, the story goes, Alexander the Great told the people around him that when he died, he wanted 3 things to happen. Number 1, he wanted the world's finest doctors to be following his funeral procession. Number 2, he wanted all of his jewels and riches to be strewn along the funeral path. And number 3, he wanted his hands to be left open as the casket was wheeled by the masses of people. And one of his lieutenants bravely asked, why, Alexander the Great, why these 3 requirements? And he said, number 1, because I want people to know that even the greatest doctors in the world will not allow you to cheat death. We are all human. We will all die. Memento mori. Number 2, riches made in the world are left in the world after we pass. And number 3, we come into the world empty-handed and we die empty-handed. So let's not make material things and worldly pursuits how we define our wealth.
What a beautiful chapter to include. It's like it really encapsulates the wealth that money comes. What a great story. I mean, I feel like that could be so relevant in so many settings, like this story. And you've really pulled together, I can see over the course of your life, what you've learned, some of the most profound takeaways of, you call them your brain tattoos. You're just I mean, it's like, what an offering. So Alexander the Great, one favorite of mine is The Sovereign Law. The exact title escapes me right now, but it's about the past sovereigns. When all the heroes of our time, how we don't even remember them, or we remember like 1 or 2, and we put such pressure on ourselves to be completely epic. I mean, could you speak about that one for a moment, Robin?
Sure. Well, in Marcus Aurelius's masterwork, Meditations, there's a paragraph where he says something to the effect of all of this noise and all of this acclaim that the rulers chased for their name on a calendar on 1 year. And it made me think that how many of the great kings and queens who were so revered in their day are remembered now? So few. And so it really speaks to the shortness of life. I mean, no matter how long we get to live, I wish everyone listening and watching incredibly long lives. But the reality is, even the longest of lives is a very, very short ride. And before we know it, we end up as dust in an urn, maybe on a mantle above a fireplace next to Little League trophies. And we're not really that important. And so, someone once said to me, if we take ourselves too seriously, no one will take us seriously. So that idea, the lost sovereign's law, is fine. Do your best, be a great human being, have integrity, work hard, take care of your family, build your health, have a beautiful life, but also remember mortality. It'll all be gone before we know it, and be okay with that. I think one of the things that really keeps us small in our lives is all of us have an ambient fear of death. And so getting to a place through all the tools I talked about in the book where you are not afraid of death, I think will allow you to be so incredibly brave in your creativity, in your business, in your life.
I completely agree. And I think that when it comes to being, I don't want to say fearless, but being brave enough to just go for it. Just a couple of nights ago, I was listening to old Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar videos. I listen to so much Florence Scovel Shinn too. No one, no, I can't say no one, but I can't imagine many people are doing that now. Right? These people who, I think are total heroes, but probably people in my age group don't even know them and will never know them or be interested in them. And so I think, go for it. This is your time. And even people who were so well known or revered in their moment, while they were here on Earth, and it hasn't even been like 100 years. It's fascinating.
Think about some of the people who've passed away over the past few years. Very famous people. With all due respect, we don't hear them talked about that much. No. Some of them, many of them. So maybe the larger point is we spend our lives in many ways in our culture right now claiming this mountain of fame, social media likes, acclaim, for what? And often to the cost of the other 7 forms of wealth I talk about.
Yes.
We lose our health along the way, or we lose our family along the way. I've mentored so many billionaires, their children won't talk to them anymore. So why would we spend our best hours chasing a mountaintop only to realize at the end we climbed the wrong mountain? Is there anything wrong with fame and fortune and social media likes and beautiful houses? Of course not. And that's why there's the whole section on wealth in the book. But not to the loss and neglecting of growth, our inner lives, wellness, our vitality and longevity, our family and friends, our craft, our social network and our community, the 7th form of wealth, adventure and never losing the sparkle in our eye that we had as little kids before the world taught us to fear and doubt and disbelieve. And then the 8th form of wealth, that's actually 8 forms of wealth, which is service, Of course, it's fine to take care of yourself and your family. It's mission essential. But each day doing something that, even in the smallest way, uplifts or inspires another life is a great way to roll through the rest of your life.
One other, just very quickly, Robin, one other favorite piece of mine in the book was Be a Pirate. Could we speak? I thought, I was like, and this was also like fun and different for you. I was like, oh, I like this. And in one of my groups, we do something called a rejection challenge. We just go for it. We have fun. We don't take it too seriously. Could you just speak about being a pirate for a moment? Because I just think it's awesome.
Well, I just think we need to swashbuckle a little more. I think, someone once said adults are nothing more than deteriorated children. And when we were little kids, we were pirates. We would dream. Hey, mommy, I want to be an astronaut. Daddy, I want to be a teacher, a firefighter, a gardener. And then the world causes us to think like everyone else, walk like everyone else, talk like everyone else, and be a part of the status quo. And so that chapter, Be a Pirate in the Wealth Money Can't Buy, is really about being a pirate. You walk into your favorite restaurant and someone puts you in a place where you don't want to sit, say politely, but be a pirate. Say, would it be possible if I sit over there? Because it just happens to be my absolute favorite table and you seem like a really nice person. And you do it sincerely.
Yes.
You go to an airline, before you get on, would it be possible for me to get an upgrade? I had someone in one of my masterminds and he said, I was challenging the group to be a pirate. This was 2 years ago in Barcelona. And he said he went back to his hotel and said, would it be possible for me to be in the penthouse tonight? And they said, Mr. So-and-so, of course. And they put him in.
Oh, Robin.
So it's so powerful, like the power of asking politely, sincerely, with enthusiasm is remarkable. So I would suggest to people, be responsible, of course, and follow your duties, of course, but also marry responsibility with spontaneity and be a little bit of a pirate and let your swashbuckling self come out more often, and you'll have a lot more fun. You'll be a lot more fun to be with, and you'll get to know parts of yourself that maybe you've lost.
I love that inclusion because, and you say in the book too, you have a more colorful experience. I'm such a pirate, Robin, the biggest pirate you've ever met. And I swear, through some fun, light risk takes, it feels kind of risky, I suppose, to ask for things, or you might get shut down. Who cares? I just think, gosh, I'm so much better off for it. And it's also, I think, it's part of the energy of not taking ourselves so seriously, right, Robin? Like you said before, we can just be so serious about everything. And I don't know. I mean, that's why I think this book is such a marvel, because it includes so many different elements and different ways of looking at the world. And if you implement even just one or two things, I mean, this is the transformation. I mean, I want to end by reading one of my favorite takeaways from the book. But what is your intention for this to go out into the world? People who find it, I know it's translated into lots of languages. Gosh, you think when people get this into their hands, what do you most want, Robin?
I want this book to absolutely transform the way they see success, winning, and wealth. And I want this book to provide them with hundreds of tools and systems and habits that will actually take all the information and principles that I share and allow them to live them step by step every day, so they radically transform their life into a beautiful life that's really rich.
And what's next for
Small
you?
goal.
Small goal. I know. I mean, I'm thinking, is there anything you think, gosh, I mean, I love to ask authors this. Do you think, gosh, I wish I included this extra thing? Or are you like, no, that is complete. It is perfect. As that's what I got. Or do you think, gosh, there's one more thing I would have added now? No, complete.
It's especially the past 3 books, the 5 a.m. Club, the Everyday Hero Manifesto, and the Wealth Money Can't Buy. It was a very strange process, but all 3 books were almost the same creatively in terms of the process. I would finish around the manuscript, you know what I'm talking about, and I thought, okay, it's, let's say, 2 months in or 3 months in, and go, wow, it's done. It feels really good. It would go to the publisher, and it would get edited, and it would come back, and I'd go like, this is so far from done. Why did I write this? I'm not happy with it. And I would pretty much rewrite the whole thing and think, wow, now it's done. And then I'd submit it. I wouldn't see it for 6 weeks. I'd get it back and I'd look at it and I'd go, it's so unfinished. And this process would go on and on and on. For the 5 a.m. Club, it was a 4-year process. For the Wealth Money Can't Buy, like I said, it was just over a year. But then, Susie, I got to a point where I just couldn't read it anymore. And here was the point. It was like, okay, now if I change it, I'm going to make it worse than better. It was just a point where I went, okay, it's done. And if I touch it, I'm going to make it worse versus better. And so to answer your question, there's nothing I'd add, because on each of those 3 books, I got to a place where I said, it's the best I can do. It's done. I never want to see it again. It's time to get it out into the world.
Oh, Robin. And what you share in the book is, I mean, I love this. You say, to grow into all that you can possibly be is a prize far more precious than anything money could ever buy. Personal mastery is a currency that will make you authentically wealthy. And your wisest investment is making yourself into all that you can be. Robin Sharma, thank you for being with us today. Is there where should people go? I mean, the Wealth Money Can't Buy available everywhere books are sold. What else should our listeners do to follow you, connect with you, learn about what's next, what's coming up?
Sure. The book is, as you say, in bookstores, Amazon. The audiobook is on Audible. And if anyone wants even more, they can go to robinsharma.com and subscribe to my newsletter where I push out a lot of videos and strong content. And I'm on Instagram and probably 300 videos on YouTube. And I have a podcast. So anyone who wants to go a lot deeper can find me in all the usual places.
Thank you so much, Robin Sharma. What a joy. I could keep you forever talking about this book and so many other things. So, what a joy, truly. Thank you. And my friends, until tomorrow, so much love and ease.